Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:06 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson, Larry O'Connor. Coming up at 7:35 from your Fox Business Network, our good friend Stuart Varney. And then at 8:05, we'll be joined by Senator Jim DeMint, Republican from South Carolina, but not very much longer. He's announced he's leaving. He's going to go over to the Heritage Foundation. We'll talk to him about all that and why he's making the move. Very much have the newsmakers on our show this morning, Larry O'Connor.
And right now, Brian Wilson, in studio with us is Jim Barry from the Consumer Electronics Association. And, well, listen, all the things that are big in news right now with the fiscal cliff and RG3 and everything people are talking about in Washington, there's another thing they're talking about. It's Christmas time.
That's right.
And that means Christmas shopping. And that means stress. It means pressure. It means, oh my gosh, what am I going to get her for Christmas?
That's
what
right.
am I get them for Christmas?
That's right.
Well, if you want your
pressure's
kids,
on.
or you want your spouse, you want your parents, you want your brother, you want your friends to have the hottest electronics. And let's face it, that's where things are moving Christmas time right now. Everyone wants electronics.
Right.
You want to talk to Jim Barry. He's here. He's got how great is this? He's got the whole display here.
I know. Good morning, guys. Nice to be with you.
Good morning, Jim.
And you're right. On our survey, the association, the 19th annual survey, electronics were at the top of the list. In
fact, always is,
tablet computer was number one in the open-ended question, ahead of money and peace and happiness. So we want that iPad before we want the other stuff. And then
iPad on Earth, goodwill toward men.
Exactly. Smartphones, notebook computers were in the top 5. So 3 of the top 5 things people want are electronics, and 3 out of the 4 of the people surveyed said they're buying electronics. So tablets, one of the biggest questions I get asked, well, should I just buy an iPad? I see there's lots of other ones now.
Yeah,
right. Your choices really are in 3 areas, because iPad just brought out the iPad mini as a reaction to the Amazon Kindle Fire, the Nexus 7 from Google,
right.
Samsung's. So your choices are in screen size, 7, 8, 9, or 10 inches are the
right.
screen sizes. Choice in operating systems, Apple's, iOS, or basically Google's Android operating system in most of the others, and in price. The really important thing for a lot of us, from about $200 on up to about $800 or so if you get the fully featured Wi-Fi and phone type service with lots and lots of memory. The new one in the game, though, is the Surface from Microsoft.
Is it any good?
It is very good. It's $500, and also for an extra $100 you get a really nice keyboard case combination. So this one is really Microsoft's attempt to get back in this game.
Yeah, Microsoft has really been out of the tablet touchscreen.
But you know, one thing people forget is Microsoft still has over 90% market share in desktops and laptop computers. Right. So now if you look at the Windows 8 that they're using on these, they're now using it also on their smartphones, the new Windows smartphones, on desktops, laptops, and on the Surface. So they're looking to get that same kind of ecosystem that you get with Apple.
Okay, but I got to ask you a question. Yes. It has to do with reliability, because the reason that a lot of people went over to Apple was, the word was Apple rarely crashes.
Right, right.
What about Windows? Does it crash now, or is this better?
Well, Windows 8 is brand new, and it's supposed to be not going to crash like the older one.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, well, we've heard that before too. But Windows 7 actually is quite good. The one that Vista should have been. I think almost everybody would agree on that. So that was part of the problem. So those are really your choices. And, tablets, smartphones, in the consumer electronics industry, just think about the way we use all this stuff now. And everybody uses this all the time. These mobile devices are really the biggest part of the industry. And this is a big change in the last 2 years or so, because for 60 years, the biggest part of the industry was television.
Yeah.
And think about television and desktop computers. Now we're going to mobile devices, not stationary devices.
In the electronics world, especially with devices like this, they often talk about how the killer app is the thing that ends up selling the product, because people want that app. They want the software on it.
Right.
And it seems to be Angry Birds suddenly became a killer. Everyone wanted to have Angry Birds, so they ended up getting tablets.
Yeah,
so
well,
funny.
that's big. But, that actually raises a different question about video games, which are a big, big holiday gift item, too.
Yeah.
And the video game business is in a huge transition, because now we have, as you point out, Larry, contrary, more people playing games on their tablets or smartphones. We just had the new Wii U introduced from Nintendo, but what we haven't had, and we're way past the 5-year time when you would have had the new Xbox version from Microsoft or the new PlayStation from
It seemed like every
Sony.
Christmas season we had a brand new gaming console coming out.
We used to have one about every 5 years or so, but really Wii is new, the Wii U from Nintendo. But
and how is I'm sorry for interrupting.
It's selling really well.
How is the Wii U different than the Wii? If people, if people knuckled under and bought their kids the Wii 2-3 years ago, why do they need to get the Wii U
it's faster
now?
among other things. But one thing that's very different, we're talking about tablets. It has a tablet controller.
How about that?
Yeah. So it's kind of a step back in that stage because the Xbox 360 has the non-controller, the Kinect
thing,
where you become the
where
controller.
You're moving around and doing stuff.
So we talk about smartphones, but there's another smart device. I mean, the HD TV is becoming increasingly intelligent.
Right, connected. We call them either smart TVs or connected TVs. It basically means you're getting the internet as well as television. So you're getting thousands of channels rather than the 500 channels we talked about in the early cable days. So we have more and more of that. About 25% of the TVs we buy this year will be connected TVs. You'll see the one thing that we don't know is there's really no definition of what that means. So it could be just a couple of widgets or it could be a full browser.
But here's the big question in that regard. I mean, I have a little Apple TV device, but one hears that there's actually going to be a big Apple television set that, in fact, I read a story just the other day that says it's looking like it is now in development and could be on the market soon. What do you think about the big Apple TV?
Well, it's possible, but, in the electronics business, those of us who've been around for a long time used to say that the TV business, the actual TV business, is where computer companies go to die. And Apple is the one that could do this too. I would expect if they do have a TV, it will be a real big screen, 40 inches or larger. It will be one of these OLED, the really sharp ones that we see on some of these small phones
the
and stuff.
Screens,
So they may, but there's no margin in television sets. Apple, if they controlled, as they do in their stores and stuff, control the distribution, they are the ones that could possibly do it. And the other TV makers are all saying, well, wouldn't that be great? We could actually get some profit in this business.
Well, by the way, that little Apple device, that little box is like $100, and it's an awesome little device.
It's excellent. There are other ones. That's the smart TV not built into the TV with a separate box. Roku, Apple TV, Blu-ray, DVD players with it built in. You'll see more and more of those, but we're going to see more of it built right into the TV.
Jim Berry from the Consumer Electronics Association is our guest. And Jim, quickly, before we run out of time, is there a hot deal out there that people are missing? What's a really good affordable thing that's really going to get where people will get a lot of bang for their buck?
Well, there's no better deal. There hasn't been for years, and now it's even better than ever than television sets. Look at the price on TV sets, and that's one of the things I was talking about where the manufacturers and retailers have a real hard time because there's very little margin in it. But for us, for consumers, it's absolutely
But
tremendous.
The concern is, what should people look for when they buy that TV because they don't want it to be obsolete in a year?
Well, here's the thing. Don't just look at the screen size. Look at the connectors, because we don't buy TVs. We buy a monitor that you hook up, what we've been talking about, video games, Apple TV.
Integrating all your devices.
Cable boxes, satellite dishes. So all of these things, look at those connectors, look at the back or the side of the set, as well as the front of the set and the screen size when you're buying one.
By the way, my favorite device of all times is my Sling box.
Excellent.
It's such a fantastic device.
My favorite device is my Slinky that I got. But whatever happened to Slinkies for Christmas? I used to enjoy those. Jim Berry, Consumer Electronics Association, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks for bringing all these free gifts for us to take home with us. It's
well,
really
you guys
nice
have so much good stuff
to bring all these
trade.
tablets.
It's nice.
I feel like I've gotten my geek on.